Everton kick off. 3-2 up from the first leg. And here's Rideout, who's had a pulled muscle in his chest and needed this pain-killing injection to get fit to start the game tonight. Hinchcliffe. That was Everton, who actually hit the bar in the opening seconds in Iceland, trying to repeat the feat here.
It certainly looks as if Joe Royal sent his team out to start quickly, and that doesn't surprise me. I think Joe would like the side to get a nice early goal, just to settle any nerves. But already, Reykjavik have shown that when they're under pressure, they're just going to flood black and white shirts back at the edge of the box and make it as difficult as possible.
The Zebras, they're nicknamed. The team from the capital of Iceland, KR. They've won the Icelandic Cup for the last couple of seasons, and their latest success has qualified them for this competition next season. Neville Southall played in all 9 matches in the Cup Winners Cup triumph in 84-85. Top scorer in that cup run, got 5 goals, sitting alongside me, but only played in 3 of those 9 games.
Yeah, it was a thing I couldn't understand, Howard leaving me out for a couple of those games, but he obviously knew best.
No, I thought you were going to tell the truth, that you got injured early in the season. Bjornsson. Unless they produce a startling performance tonight, this is the last match of KR's season. They finished runners-up in the league to Akranes, who were put out of Europe on Tuesday by Wraith Rovers. But all things considered, they've come here to enjoy themselves tonight, to try and show that there is some depth to the Icelandic game. And whatever happens, they're staying on till Sunday evening. Brought their wives and friends with them, and they're going to be here to watch Everton play Newcastle on Sunday. Adolfsson, who is the sweeper.
Could almost be Newcastle are playing tonight.
Absolutely. Well, Barrett, who played in Europe in the last 2 seasons for Aston Villa. Everton, who are seeded 6th, 6 of 8 seeds in the Cup Winners Cup. And should they finish the business successfully tonight, they should be drawn also against an unseeded club in the second round. The European draw tomorrow. This is Rideout. Well, it wasn't an easy shot to save, and the goalkeeper dropped quickly on it. Rather towed forward by Rideout in the end.
That's exactly what he did. And it's a decent run from Paul, driving into the box. And with plenty of penalties in the first leg, I'm not surprised he's trying to do it. At the end of the day, it was just a little toe poke. Picked up some pace off the turf. But if you're a goalkeeper in an away tie in Europe, it ain't a bad one to have as your first save. I think he'll be a bit busy tonight.
Well, whatever happens in this first round, second leg game tonight, at least KR have made a landmark in Europe this season. They've actually won a game in the preliminary round, and in doing so, won the tie to get through to play Everton. They beat a club from Luxembourg.
I think they're here to play with pride, Martin, to come and not be embarrassed and work very hard. Enjoy it, yes, but I think they're conscious of the fact they don't want to lose 4 or 5, something like that. But I don't think they've, in their wildest dreams, have any imagined winning the tie.
Hinchcliffe, who's left back these days. Gary Ablett, been dropped by Joe Royal for the past couple of games. Everall, well claimed by the goalkeeper.
That was a great ball from John Everall. It really was. Just fed it in there. Didn't try to blast it across. It was just teased in. for anyone who wanted to go near post. Amakachi pulls away, then he tries to dart near post. He's only about a yard away. But any touch from him, the goalkeeper committed to coming out. And it was in. It was a super ball.
Greasy ball. And Finn Bogerson has twice shown up impressively in the early moments here. Grant looking for Amakachi. Hinchcliffe. For all the rain, it's a splendid top on which to play.
He should get plenty of the ball tonight, Anders Limper.
Everton. There's no offside. Right out.
Now they look to play offside. Linesman kept his flag down. Decent ball in. Look to come out. Just brings it back on himself. It just sits up a little bit. Again, hitting it a little bit earlier than he might have liked. Couldn't get it down.
First of 3 very significant home games in quick succession for Everton and their supporters. Newcastle, as we've been saying here on Sunday, midweek match next week is in the Coca-Cola Cup against Millwall. We all know the first leg in South London.
Well, he doesn't make many tackles, Anders Limpar, but that looked like a very good one.
He's actually got a yellow card hanging over him from the first leg. Got booked for taking a free kick too quickly by a very fussy, officious official. Joe Royle wasn't happy about it, but should he get booked tonight? Of course, he'd missed the next match in Europe. Right out. Corner.
Well, he elected to go on his own. Earl Barrett was steaming up behind him, and it might have been beneficial to him just to have held play up a little. Just popped the ball off. But I think these Everton strikers are, well, they've got goals in their mind tonight. And I think any chance they get, they'll be going alone.
Oh, the goalkeeper looked less convincing then. Andy Hinchcliffe's corners have troubled more experienced goalkeepers than Finn Bogerson, who drops now to cover the effort from Amakachi.
Well, he doesn't look convincing. But Amakachi there, very much like Rideout, looking to go on his own, looking to get shots and goal.
Parkinson, right out touching it off. Grant looking for the run of Ebrel, unlucky. Tony Grant's beginning to make an impact here. Getting more chances on the senior side. He's on the ball again. Ebrel. That was handball. It was just outside. Hinchcliffe has come across.
That might well be worth a strike from Andy Hinchcliffe from there.
Flips it in, goalkeeper comes with a fist, gets good distance to it. Goodison, player who scored those 2 penalties in Iceland 2 weeks ago. Right out. Did well to guide it down. Parkinson on target. Joe Royle wants him to be more productive in terms of goal scoring, Joe Parkinson.
Well, opening 10 minutes, and that's 3 good attempts in goal, and that's exactly what Joe would have liked. Of course he would have liked a goal, but Everton have been very positive, and I think the pattern's set now. Deep defence from Reykjavik and Everton, well, just hammering on the door until they get in.
Ebrel. Grant. Here's Hinchcliffe.
Well, goals on the mind, yes, but even that's a bit ambitious.
Joe Royle, whose playing record for Everton includes 4 European goals, all scored against an Icelandic club, Keflavik. 2 at home, 2 away, 25 years ago. Puts him pretty high on the list of Everton European scorers. The top man is Fred Pickering with 6. And I've already told you who's got 5.
Oh dear. And I got 1 disallowed in that final as well. Can you believe that?
I remember it well.
Oh,
And Southall. Not at all like the great goalkeeper we know, and whether it's the burden of captaincy, loss of concentration more like.
it can only be a loss of concentration. That is the thing when you're defending. Your 2 centre-backs tonight and your goalkeeper. I mean, he calls for it. There's no doubt about that. I know he just took his eye off it. Simple as that. Thankfully, it wasn't costly.
Of Jonsson, but there was some numerical pressure in the end. Well, they've set out their stall, Andy, man-to-man marking on Amakachi and right out, the sweeper in there, 2 wing-backs, if you like, pushing on Grant and Limpar respectively, as Egilson, the captain, whose job it is to rein in Daniel Amakachi.
You set the stall out to make it as difficult as possible. But you and I were at Old Trafford on Tuesday, Martin, and I know that was just about, I don't see the same threat from the Icelandic side that I saw from the Russian side.
Danny Elson. Suggesting the referee that he's not going to be as fussy as the official in the first leg. Joe Royle described one of the penalties given against Everton. The offence was heavy breathing. Hinchcliffe. I think you can sense already that the crowd have come here tonight expecting to see Everton be profitable in their attacking play. Johnson. This is Benedictson. 2 up front for KR. Limpar has found some acceleration to keep it in. Goalkeeper drops on it.
Ain't bad. Nice little area to play across into. All right, just set back on his heels before he decided to go in.
Just saw a glimmer on the far side of quality of Dervitz, who's a real sprinter down the left, but he gave the ball away. Here he is winning the header. Dervitz, a Bosnian, happy to make a new life for himself in Iceland. He's already played 14 times for Iceland. Tied up by Adolfsson. Reykjavik coping well and trying to put 1 or 2 passes together through midfield. They haven't been able to do that very often as yet. It's been the expected domination by Everton, but not to the extent of changing the scoreline. Play switch by Ebel, who's a very popular member of the playing staff here. He's had to play second fiddle to Horn and Parkinson, the regular central midfield pairing. Gary Horn, though, is a Welshman, classified as a foreigner tonight, with Amakachi with Limpar and with Southall. Only three being involved. Horn has to sort it out. This is Hinchcliffe. Way off target.
And that just ended up the same position his first shot did. You mentioned John Ebro, and I'd just like to see him make one or two runs forward a little bit more. This is a great opportunity tonight for a midfield player in the centre to go forward and make runs and not really worry too much about what he's leaving behind.
Of course, he did score. I think we saw the goal at the start of our programme, following in to give Everton the lead in Iceland 2 weeks ago. That was his first game of the season. This is his second. Catchy, unusual type of attempted layoff. Goodison. Benedictson. Easy to Grant. Now Parkinson. Right out, lets it run. Now Catchy. He's made some progress here. There's only one in the centre for Everton at the moment. Ball in from Barrett. Is blocked behind for the corner. Both Unsworth and Short making their way forward. Unsworth with a new haircut. Great Short trying to beat Everton what Dave Watson so often is at set pieces. Parkinson, it's too much on it.
It was a little unlucky. It was a good idea just to feed it back in. But everyone had obviously gone in on the end of the Hinchcliffe's corner. Who wouldn't?
Everyone.
Who wouldn't? And you see how profitable they've been.
Hinchcliffe. Supported by Ebrel. Hinchcliffe's cross. Davids making sure it didn't get to Tony Grant. Risky. Overplaying on the edge of their own area. And the goalkeeper has a problem with his own captain. Goodison trying to help out. Signs of uncertainty in the KR defending, which for the most part would have been to the liking of Gudjon Goodison, the coach. There he is, 40 years old, 40 on the day of the first leg, and reacquainting himself before the kick-off with an old adversary from the youth team, Iceland against Scotland.
I have to say I don't remember.
He remembers you.
He must have been a defender then.
So if he's 40, that must mean you're...
very close.
Yes.
We won't talk about that.
Don't worry. Life begins then, I can tell you. Here's Johnson. Quick clearance from Southall. Just too much on it from right out's header.
But that's been the story of the opening 20 minutes from Everton. Patient, build-up's been okay, but last third they've just lacked that little bit of penetration, that killer ball, if you like, that opens up a defence. But I think we often talked about patience from Manchester United, man. I think from Everton's point of view, this is the night of patience. It's really going to be one of those nights.
Yes, and it's not as though they've come into the game in the best of form.
No. But I mean, you'd obviously like to use it. When you mentioned the type of games that are coming up on Sunday, big game here. We really want to put that home, well, that league record to rights. Too many defeats in a row, not a great thing this early in the season. We'd like to use this to build a bit of confidence, score a few goals, get the team firing again. But they're going to have to work for it.
The mood would not be improved if KR can come up with something from the free kick. Danielson. He didn't like the challenge from Ebrel. Goodison, a teenager. One player brought in to try and stiffen the defending from the first game, in which the Icelandic team, the players I can tell you, were very, very disappointed not to have at least got a draw. Remember, Amakachi scored late on. It was the best goal of the night by some distance. And it was one time when Everton did look in a different league. Goodison trying to make sure it doesn't happen again. Well, that's beautifully played, and there's a real chance here for Danielsson. They've scored.
Well, I don't believe it. Well, I tell you, that's the beauty of this game. Look at the joy. Look at the joy. But it was so simple, Martin. No, it was so simple, wasn't it? They've absolutely carved Everton apart with one pass, one run, one flick. Neville stands big. Keeps his head, and wow, what a shock that is.
It's been that sort of week for English clubs. But the Goodison Park faithful here, not in truth out in force, coming those who have ventured out on a very wet evening expecting to see a hatful of goals. It's level now on aggregate. 3-3. And Danielsson drove through an enormous gap.
I couldn't believe they opened up like that. You talk about concentration. It was certainly lacking in the defensive side there. I mean, he's made his run from way deep. It's not as if he's made his run in and around the edge of the box. And he's run unchallenged for about 20 yards before he's coolly picked his spot. Well, that might be what Everton need.
Well, Everton might be grateful for the 3 away goals by which they have the advantage at the moment, but it's a very slender advantage. Amakachi. Earl Barrett, furthest forward. But talking to the coaches, particularly the Scandinavian coaches, they do believe that the back four, the flat way of defending, is easily taken apart. We saw it with Norway in Norway last night with Blackburn Rovers, and here, just what Gudjon Thordarson hoped his side could do: make the movement, catch them square, find the space, and put the ball in the net. And Everton are embarrassed.
I have to disagree with the fact that it's easy to take apart. I think a flat back four played properly is as good a defensive unit as you're going to get. Simple fact of that move is Everton were just, well, they didn't play it properly.
Well, it's a tale of the unexpected so far. Halfway through the first half. Will this just be a rap across the knuckles for Everton? Or, as Joe Raw's expression rather suggests, fearful of something even more serious occurring?
Well, the one thing that I would be worried about is the crowd at the moment. They just seem to be on the turn a little bit.
Amakachi. It's a corner.
It's what we talked about on Tuesday night at Old Trafford, Martin. The one thing that can strengthen resolve and make you more determined than ever is a goal. We saw it with Rotor Volgograd, how they grew from that first goal. Now Everton have got to make sure that doesn't happen here and hit back as quickly as possible.
They've got a chance from the corner. Short, hit the post. Harmsworth didn't hit anything.
Well, it was a difficult header for shot. He did the best he could. He got it on target. I think there's a defender on the post as well. It would have been difficult to squeeze it in there. Difficult angle. He gets it down well. Well, the less said about that, the better. It's not the best effort in the world at all. In fact, it's a poor effort. He's there to be hit on his left foot. He wouldn't have wanted it anywhere else. Just hit the target and you're level.
Well, it's the current uncertainty of Everton. Slipping down the Premiership table You sense coming here tonight with half an eye on the match on Sunday. Let's get this one done and out of the way. And it's not going to be that straightforward. Goodison getting too tight on Amakachi. Short has come forward again. Limpire leaving the free kick to Hinchcliffe. Grant round the back. Short. Setting up Ebrel.
Well, what was disappointing from that is such a good free kick was allowed to pass across the face of the 6-yard box. You know, Hinchcliffe's got great quality from set pieces. I'm a little disappointed no one was flying in at the across the 6-yard box to get on the end of that. But it gives it another chance to look at that goal. I mean, look how the gap opens ahead of them. It's a cool head, very cool head from Danielson. Finished it well, but it just gets sucked in. I mean, where's Craig Short? Well, he must be out on the right-hand side. Where, if that's the case, where's Andy Hinchcliffe? Short's coming in. He just got it wrong.
It's right out going in and not allowed to get there by Goodison's header.
Well, it's a big lad, Goodison, and you need to be there.
Hinchcliffe. Well, that was short on the move.
That's better, though. I mean, someone's attacking it. It was only 5 or 6 inches too high for Craig Short.
Well, he's hit the post, but at the moment there's egg on Everton faces.
They go Unsworth and Short really coming in at pace there to attack that cross. And if they do that, then they'll have a chance.
Well, the ratio means nothing when the opposition have a 100% record. One shot, one on target, one in the back of the net. And so far, tactically, it's going to plan for KR Reykjavik, to the great concern of Everton, but they've got to get another one at the moment. The away goals giving Everton the superiority in the structure of the European competition. 3-3 on aggregate. But whatever happens, this team from Reykjavik, the very first football club ever founded in Iceland, founded by a Scotsman, incidentally. Good lad. They have, whatever befalls them in the rest of the contest, they have scored 3 times against Everton of England's Premier League. Parkinson flags up for offside. KR actually started their European adventure back in the 60s against Liverpool. It was Liverpool's first tie as well in 1964. Big gap between the respective countries in terms of football then. 11-1 Liverpool's aggregate margin of victory. Aberdeen had a big success also against KR in the 60s. Queen's Park Rangers 7-0 on aggregate in the 80s. Here we are in 1995, 3-3.
Sign of the times.
Grant has got a trick or two. Neville Southall has nicknamed him Grantonar. Amakachi beaten by his marker Egilson. Barrett. Well, the combined attentions there of Dervitz and Danielson. But another corner, another chance for Andy Hinchcliffe. Try and set the record straight here from Everton's point of view.
The last couple have been a little bit deep, Mark. If he can just get one in under the crossbar.
It's a Deep one, and it's short. Jumping with Dervitz, off target.
So you're not going to score from there, I don't think, where the first header. That's the difficulty when it's a little bit long. You're only going to score here if Craig Short wins the header, knocks it back across goal, and someone else comes in it. You score from a header from there, but really have to be very, very good. So I'd like to see him drop them a little shorter.
This is Benedictson, who had a spell playing in Belgium until his career was just put on hold by a knee injury. Went back home to get himself sorted out. Well, I mentioned already what Everton had one eye on. The team coming here in black and white stripes on Sunday against Newcastle. You'll see that as the first part of a really brilliant doubleheader we've got for you on Sky Sports. Manchester United against Liverpool comes later, all live. Parkinson.
Got nothing on Mark. He's looking around Andy Hinchcliffe. He's wanting a target. He had nothing ahead of him. The only way he could go was back.
Short, trying to break up the tightness of the marking. Everton. That's the way it's going for Everton at the moment.
Apart from the opening 10 minutes, Everton really haven't played well. Obviously the goals, well, it's been a shock to them. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Short. Given away. Goodison's header. Only to Parkinson. Out by Egilson. Nicely played by KR. Danielson, the goal scorer. Trying to slip it through for Bjornsson, but it was over-optimistic. 2 up for Everton. Well won by Rideout, supported by Everall. That was through the back of John Everall by Goodison. Grant has a shot, and it's a good one. From fully 35 yards.
It was a good strike from Tony Grant. He hit it very, very well. But Everton will want to be hitting balls from a little bit closer than that to get back in the game. You saw how comfortable it was for the goalkeeper, just the edge to his right, make a real comfortable save. But both the number 6 and 4, Martin, Goodison and Egilson, have played really well in this opening half hour. They've competed well with Rideout and Amakatchi. They've won their share of headers. And any crosses that have gone into the box, one or the other has got himself on the end of it.
Well, Celtic also playing tonight with a 3-2 advantage from the first leg, and they're going very nicely, 5-2. Andreas Tom, the German, has scored both of them. Barrett. It's good work from Grant. And Amakatchi. Away for a throw by Egilson. All these players have other jobs. He's a school teacher, but they do train 5:30 every day, so really they are, in a sense, full-timers. There's been no suggestion that their fitness isn't up to the test here, nor at the moment their football. Grant. Everall, early ball. Adolfson. He then miscues. Bjornsson. In here for the number 7, Bjornsson. Egilson. Bjornsson. Danielson, who's a gifted left footer. Goodison. Well, the ball went through the middle. Had it gone more to the left, Benedictson had got in behind Earl Barrett and would have been onside. But look at Unsworth wanting the movement up front to be more incisive, decisive work required from Everton in all departments at the moment.
That's the best player that Everton have got, is that change of play.
Barrett's cross is deflected. Parkinson going in so powerfully that Amakachi has ended up down and maybe in need of attention. Well, he's not moved. Les Helm, of course, was called in to deal with Andrei Kanchelskis, the last home game here. It's another of the Everton foreigners who's hurt, maybe hurt by one of his own teammates. We'll see here.
I think he is, Martin.
He's
come in there and well, it's like he's the meat in the sandwich, isn't he? Hopefully he's just winded. Certainly could well be, where there was a clash of heads in there.
Joe Royle has come down onto the bench, and one will assume that's more to try and make a tactical point to the players, and because of the problem for Amakachi, gives us a chance to remind you of more football coming up on Sky Sports. Monday night football, Southampton against West Ham from the FA Cup and Premiership, of course, and on Tuesday Rangers against Motherwell. Stuart Barlow and Graham Stewart are potential forward replacements. It's Stewart who's stripping off. Well, it's typical of the trouble that Everton are in, Andy.
Yeah, and it looked to nothing, didn't it, man? It looked as if he was just, as I say, just the meat in the sandwich. But it's obviously more serious than that.
Barrett did that well. Davids, as I said earlier, is very quick. And also has got enough know-how to deal with a situation like that and get KR Reykjavik a goal kick.
Well, I think if it stays at this to half-time, there'll be one or two in blue shirts getting the proverbial rocket from Joe Royle. I don't think he'll be happy at all with the performance in the first half.
We talked about the way the crowd have been, Andy, and the feeling I think with Everton this season is last year it was an inhospitable place for visitors. The crowd made it that, but somehow since the cup has been won, and the Premier League results have been disappointing, but the fans have gone off the boil a bit.
Well, there's never going to be a great atmosphere here tonight. I mean, it's a fairly decent crowd, but it's never going to be a full house. And in that case, it's up to the players on the field to make the crowd shout and sing and make the voices heard. They haven't done that.
So Graham Stewart does replace Amakachi. Stewart was injured pre-season, oddly enough, playing against Chelsea reserves, Chelsea's old club.
I arrived at the ground at the same time as Ben was walking around the track with him. Asked him how his fitness was. He said he's not quite there yet. He said his fitness is very good. It's his sharpness, but he just needs to work on. As you know, only games get you sharp. He'll be delighted to get a game. He'll be sad for Daniel Amakachi, but he'll be delighted that he's the one that's on now.
Well, he missed the Charity Shield, the chance to play at Wembley again. He missed playing at Chelsea on the opening day of the season, and he missed the game in Iceland. So he'll be champing at the bit to help the Everton cause here, which is in need of some help.
They haven't created an awful lot, Everton, since the opening 10 minutes. Certainly can give Reykjavik a little bit of credit, or a lot of credit for that.
Everton. Grant. Empty in the centre for Everton. Limpar coming infield. Everton. A shot hit Goodison. Everton just slipped as he made contact with the ball in any case. And here's Benedictson. Goodison, who hasn't ventured forward very often, sensed where the space was then. The ball has got to him straight away, he was in. Just occasionally they've come forward, but when they have done, Everton have looked rocky. Oh, and so Benedictson, maybe surprised to get it, gave it away straight away. Limpar. Grant, right out. It's a corner.
Not sure what he was looking for, Paul, right out. Certainly they were lacking in numbers in the box. I don't know whether he was attempting to shoot.
4 minutes or so to go to half-time.
I mean, this has looked the most likely route for Everton.
Another Hinchcliffe corner. The goalkeeper kept his eye on it, but short came in and planted into the post for the concern of everyone.
And the peels round the back, and well, I can see it there, and he attacks it very forcefully, takes a ride on the back and straight into the upright.
Well, he's hit the post twice now. Once with the ball and once with the body.
Mr. Clare, go to the steward at station 3 at the church end of the main stand.
Service is okay. Well, it was awkward in Reykjavik for Everton. Perhaps less surprise of that. Home conditions for the KR players, home support. But really, the scene looks set for Everton to come here and finish the job without any great inconvenience. But what is unfolding again before you, and has happened on Tuesday night, is that an English team is not really grasping the nettle. For all the misfortune for Manchester United, particularly in the second half, that cannot disguise the fact that they played very badly for the first 25 minutes and gave away 2 goals. A similar time here, KR Reykjavik scored 1 past Everton. They need 1 more. A Russian club is on the face of it acceptable. It's happened to Manchester United before and Liverpool in the 90s, but to an Icelandic club.
Yeah, there was genuine quality about Volgograd, some of the play, man. I think we could all see that on Tuesday. But I think this Everton are creating their own problems here because they're not playing well. One piece of awful defending, and they've paid a real penalty for it.
Their current lack of confidence has shown since then. They press on now. Limpar, Everton, and the goalkeeper was going one way, was able to reposition, otherwise Graham Stewart could have walked the ball into the net.
Just as well, the pace was taken off the shot as well, otherwise it might well have got past the goalkeeper. Had time to turn. Maybe not given a call, but all the pace taken off the shot, and it was a comfortable save.
Everton looking for some craft, some guile here against a very well-drilled team.
That's why I thought Limpar and Tony Grant would play a big part tonight, Martin, because sometimes you have to go around the outside when you're playing against teams who pack the centre of the field. Limpar and Grant really haven't had enough of the ball, particularly Grant. He's tended to drift in a little bit.
Hinchcliffe. I can't remember seeing Hinchcliffe be so off target so often in one half with that left foot. Not so much in the taking of corners, although you've been critical of those, Andy.
I think his
But
corners have
also-
just been a bit long.
Yeah.
I mean, the quality in there's been there, but he's just been a little bit big with them. But in general play, he hasn't had, in all honesty, and in all fairness to Andy Hinchcliffe, I don't think they've been getting many targets to hit, many options on his passes.
And he's not the only one who's finding it difficult. A stress. Joe Royle, even now, is, I'm sure, composing what he's going to say to his team in this unexpected situation.
Well, I think he'd be quite happy now to see half-time, Joe. To get his team in the dressing room.
Johnson, beaten by Unsworth. Benedictson tries the shot. There's a deflection and a wonderful save from Southall.
Well, that's what I mean about concentration. Now, that save might just keep Everton in the European Cup Winners Cup. Again, the ball drops in. There's Akers there. There's no one near Benedictson. It hits Unsworth. It's going in, no doubt about that. And Neville's quickly able to adjust his position. Look at that. Great feet, and his feet slipped there. And Everton would have been in real trouble.
Here's the corner. Limpar. Offside Stewart, but the man with a European Cup Winners medal, Neville Southall, showed that he's lost nothing in agility. And coming right on the stroke of half-time to stop KR Reykjavik going in front on aggregate.
Great save.
John Goodison, the coach, told me with great honesty that he really didn't think that his team could go through, but I think he might have changed his mind at the moment.
I bet his team talk at half-time would be interesting, I tell you. We can do it, boys. We know we can. We've always believed we can.
He's a terrific fellow. He's a father of 5 sons, the oldest of which is playing professionally in Germany for Bochum. Chance for Everton to get some pride back before half-time. And Barrett's free kick. Short, unattended, going for it. Good clearance by Eggerson. Ivasic laying it off well. Well, it's half-time here, and listen to the noise. Everton, a goal down on the night, scored in the 21st minute by Danielson. Their first attack, really, to be slid down the line rather than fired across from left to right. Well, they've lost ammo. Have they got any ammunition? KR Reykjavik serving the cause of Icelandic football proudly here. Barrett with a header. Here's Short, who's come as close as anyone to scoring for Everton this evening. Unsworth looking for Limpar. Back goes this impressive young defender, Gunnarsson. Jonsson.
He has played well. Alongside Eggleston, I think those two have really set the standard for the Icelandic side.
The shot is from Grant.
That was always drifting wide. You can always tell with a goalkeeper's reaction. You watch the goalkeeper. Tony Grant hits this. Doesn't look like he's struggling. He just watches it quite up. The hand goes very early. He knows it's going well wide.
Barrett. Right out, helps it on. There was some good movement from Stewart. Ball didn't quite drop where Everton wanted it. Trying to make a fast start to the second half. When it comes to speed, Dervitt's
Well, that looked a corner, I have to say.
Also looked a foul by Rideout, actually. Let's get a word from Nick Collins.
Martin, I had a quick word with Joe Royle in the tunnel. He told me that Daniel Amakachi has still not fully recovered consciousness. They've taken a stretcher into the dressing room. He will be going to hospital. That's the latest news on Daniel Amakachi.
Well, it's another big blow for Joe Royle, with, of course, Duncan Ferguson out of the equation and Andy Kanchelskis at the moment. Amakachi has proved quite a few doubters wrong in the first few weeks of this season. He was described as Everton's best player in the first leg of this particular tie. And they're going to have to do without him for the rest of it. Limper. Parkinson. Barrett's had a lot of room to get forward. And may get even more as the game resumes its shape.
And one thing is unfortunate, and they'll know what I'm talking about. El Barrett's a wonderful defender, probably one of the best defensive fullbacks in the country. One thing he does lack is a great quality in that the attacking third mark. It's been noticeable that the Icelandic side have allowed them to have the ball there. They've not been so keen for the left-hand side of Hinchcliffe and Limpar to get space in the way that El Barrett's been able to get space. And I just wonder if they've done their homework on that as well.
They're sticking very much to a system that's been drilled into them. And with Egilson doing one of the marking jobs at the back. So far successful. Stewart. Everett crunching in with Durbitz. Danielson, who backs his ability with his left foot. With which he scored the only goal tonight.
It's funny because even if it stayed at 1-0, Martin, I bet you the Reykjavik will be celebrating at the end of this game, even though they're going out the competition at that score.
Yes, I was just going to make that point again, that at the moment, if there's no more scoring, Everton would go through. But they wouldn't want that type of hollow victory. Grant. Good Johnson. Benedictson takes it from him. Support from Durbitz. Well, when you think Manchester United are out, Leeds lost at home, Blackburn beaten, of course, in Norway. Liverpool drew at home. Forest, a narrow home win going through. Hasn't been a particularly encouraging week. But these early rounds in European competition are very testing, as Howard Kendall was saying earlier. In 1984, University College Dublin almost put Everton out. Just veered in towards the goalkeeper.
What I find disappointing, the man in the picture, Finn Bogason, is it, how you pronounce it, Martin, is that he's had so little to do. And I'm quite amazed that 50 minutes on the clock, I really can't. He's handled a few awkward balls, but apart from that, I can't remember him having a save of any note to make in the game. And that's a disappointing fact from Everton's point of view.
Challenge by Durbitz, actually played the ball against Tony Grant. But it has been over the last 3 weeks or so, and Joe Royle calls it the silly season here. Everton have changed that battle-hardened character that did so much for them last season, when really they were very good at shutting out the opposition.
Well, maybe it's a case of balancing the dogs of war tag that they had, and Joe hated so much last year. That group of people who really chased pieces of paper across the pitch and tackled them, as Joe once said. And then by taking it on a step further and trying to make them play a little bit more, introducing people like Tony Grant and Anders Limpar into the equation. And it may be that they've lost that little bit.
Stewart, but watched all the way by Egilson.
But I think the 3 Premiership defeats in a row as well, and the confidence can't exactly be sky high at the moment. Newcastle on the horizon as well. They want a shot of confidence from somewhere, and they'll hopefully get it in the second half.
Dervits. Well, Everton having plenty of the ball, but not really in key areas at the moment. Hinchcliffe. This time he does give it to Limpar. For Hinchcliffe again. This looks more promising from Everton. Parkinson!
Now that one did have the goalkeeper worried. Flying across his goal. It's the best move of the match that Everton have put together. Started on the right, change of play, which has been profitable for them. They've got good possession. Just bending away. Hits it really well. Just a little bit of cut on the ball, and that's what takes it wide of the right-hand post.
Handball by Danielson, who then kicked the ball away. The referee has supervised this with great serenity, really. Not had to produce the card, not even look like wanting to do so. There have been some technical offences. Cross comes Hinchcliffe.
I'd just like to see him drop one on the goalkeeper. Right under the crossbar.
Limpar. This is Grant. 4 in the centre for Everton. Grant looking for a better angle for the cross. This is Goodison. Now the eager Benediktsson. That's too far ahead of a less than eager Danielson. And of course it's not necessary yet, but I'm just looking at Neville Southall there and remembering Peter Schmeichel on Tuesday. Get all the goalkeepers encouraged, surely.
You certainly wouldn't need any encouragement, Mr. Southall.
Another chance for Everton to play a telling ball into the Reykjavik penalty area. Hinchcliffe. Right out! It's a terrific stop. It hit the post as well. But poor Rideout powered it goalwards.
They attacked it really well. When you put a cross in like this, all you want asking is someone to come and attack it. Rideout did that inside the defender. It's a good height for the goalkeeper. He needed a bit of luck. He could only parry it. It's a good, powerful header. Gets both hands to it. Needs a bit of luck now. Touches the post. Nice and safe.
It's lifted the spirits of the crowd. Goodison. Stewart having to go again, chasing his own header. Egilson. Goodison is chasing, and on his weaker side, David Unsworth took his time before rather slicing it away. Calmly and capably for Barrett. Stewart's come towards the ball. Grant on the right-hand side. That ball's got into the penalty area with Rideout. Ball doesn't get there. Not yet. Right now, Limpar. Johnson away. Cries of handball, but Benediktsson allowed to go on. And here is Johnson. Benediktsson again. Still need a goal, KR. If they do, they will come up with the most famous victory. Just a little buzz about their play then to get Everton onto the back foot. They've been trying to force everything forward, understandably, in the second half. Barrett, it's a useful ball. Right out, guided down for Stewart. Goal. Deflected in. Everton get a break. They'll feel a bit better now.
Well, he's had an incredible amount of possession, El Barrett. And he finally picks out a cross that Everton can fashion something. It's a really good cross, lots of bend in it. Good header from right out. No thought of going for goal. But the goalkeeper's got it covered, you know, and he doesn't get the luck he maybe thinks he deserves. Defender's got to go and try and block it. Throws his left leg out. And Goodison, who's played really well, can only deflect it past his goalkeeper. That's exactly what Everton needed at the beginning of this half.
Well, it was a happy sight for Graham Stewart. So the cloud of Amakachi's departure has a silver lining for Stewart and for Everton. 1-1 here. 4-3 Everton lead on aggregate. Right out. Short was Strop. Through the back. Right out by Goodison. Again, in a situation that could produce a yellow card, but the referee showing sympathy to the defender. Andy Hinchcliffe eyeing up the angles now.
Well, he's got Joe Parkinson just to his left, Martin. There's an acres of space. He fancies just rolling it to him. He certainly might fancy his own.
Off the wall, and it's a corner. Well, the water's not quite so choppy for Everton now. Looking to set course for the second round. Oh. It was Unsworth. Goalkeeper didn't get there, and that was right out.
That was a great strike from Unsworth. When you think of the one he missed first half, which was such a dolly really on his left foot, I think this gives you an idea of the quality he has on that left side. Might have been a handball in there from Goodison. Certainly came off his arm. But he strikes it so well, in fact too well. Right off the face of the crossbar. Right out, can't get his header down.
Slid down the line. Skips away from Durbitz. Danielson fouls him. Well, Barrett's free kick. His ball into the box helped set up the Everton goal. Goodison. Egilson getting it away. Parkinson. Sinister, cynical play from the Icelanders. It's just eagerness to try and keep Everton in their best spell of the match from improving their position. Jonsson. Grant. Isolating Durbitz this time, but not getting past him. Benedictson nicely laid off to Goodison. Kovacic. News for you from Scotland. Another goal for Celtic. Simon Donnelly, a minute into the second half, to add to the two from Andreas Tom. So Celtic's place in the second round now looking safe. Maybe a game against Everton.
They were both in the Cup Winners Cup in '85, Martin. I think Rapid Vienna, who we played in the final that year, with the team that put Celtic out.
Limpar. The record books show that Rapid Vienna was the final. For my money, the final was here against Bayern Munich. That was the one you had to win. It's worthy of a final. Good Johnson tripping right out. Limpar. More expression from Everton now. And KR Reykjavik came back close to the edge of their own penalty area. Stewart, and still Graham Stewart. Just too much on the cross. He did very well to get to it a second time and cut it back.
Suddenly the goal has given Everton an extra zip about the play. Started to pass and move and want the ball. They were rather nervous spell after that goal, about the 20-minute mark. They had till half-time. A few strong words from the manager, I'm sure, and a goal from Graham Stewart have really settled them now.
Grant. Tony Grant again. Played it again into the goalkeeper's hands. But you can see one or two smiles on Everton faces now, on the pitch and certainly in the crowd, after the frowns and frustrations. Quiz question for you: which Englishman managed both these clubs?
I've read the programme.
Well, that was the predecessor in the manager's office here before Howard Kendall's first spell, Gordon Lee.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have got it.
Grant. Limpar. Fine recovery by Johnson.
He was unlucky. I think the only reason he got back Johnson was that Anders Limpar didn't quite gather the return pass.
Well, Joe Royle was talking, hoping his players could get the tie over with quickly tonight. A couple of early goals and maybe an opportunity to take one or two key players off late in the game and bring on the substitutes. 3, of course, now permissible. But it hasn't panned out like that.
No, but I think now the game's safe. I'll be amazed if Joe doesn't think the game's safe. And I think that if he has got a mind to rest one or two with Sunday coming up, I think he'll feel quite safe about doing so now. At 1-0 he may have had, well, different ideas.
Ebel, bringing the better of his opposite number, Goodison. Grant has nicked in here. Great goal for Everton. The promise of Tony Grant. Grantanar, they like to call him in the dressing room.
What a great run from John Ebro, though. Set it all up. Really forceful and positive run. Flicks it, Grant's inside the fullback. He's threatened from way out. But that's the difference when you get within 16, 17 yards. And you're still striking him. May have been offside, very tight. But the quality of the shot was there for all to see.
His first competitive goal, and he rattled it in.
Not a bad first.
He scored pre-season here against PSV, so something about the European occasion. And pleasing for John Ebro. who one assumes will be back on the bench, or maybe not even involved on Sunday, with Barry Horn desperate to come back into proceedings. With a lot of English midfield players, Joe Royle, that's why the Welshman is the foreigner who loses his place. Gadosi, good challenge by Everton. Limper. Everton in full cry. Paul right out. Is he in for another one? No. Goalkeeper did enough.
I tried to slide it along the ground. I've got a good theory about goalkeepers coming out. The best usually stand as tall as they can, but a lot of goalkeepers go to ground early. I think this one, down he goes. And it's just then, if you can get it up and over, then there's a good chance it drifts into an empty net. I'm not sure what's going on here, but that certainly looked a corner. Is he giving a goal kick, man?
I was just trying to see if there was any other infringement he could have spotted, but...
Well, he obviously doesn't think the goalkeeper gets anything on it. But you can see there, he certainly gets plenty on it.
All about angles. Hinchcliffe. Well, it's coming right in the end for Everton. And in the 20 minutes or so that's left, one would expect them to make more chances.
Well, you would think so. That nervous spell that they had, when they didn't particularly play well. It's been a much better second half. The early goal certainly helped from Graham Stewart. And then the cracker from Tony Grant. You'd expect Everton to be relaxed now. The players to want the ball, to be plenty of movement.
And here is Grant. Limper. Goalkeeper recognising the need for attacking urgency now for KR Reykjavik. And after the hopes have been lifted, it now does look like their last game of the season. The league programme finished in Iceland. Very short season, mid-May to mid-September. Productive season for them. Not let themselves down here at Goodison Park, not by any means.
Well,
not that time for Graham
Yeah,
Stewart.
he might not have hit the target that time, but he certainly struck at a crucial time. And Paul Rideout's such a good header. So aware of where Stewart is. Good control of the ball. You see the way he got over the ball, drove it down, and Goodison could only deflect it past his goalkeeper. And this is a super strike. Look at that. Cross the goalkeeper. Absolutely no chance. Enjoy it, young man.
Danielsson, the scorer of the KR goal. Ibrasic, who got the two in the first leg for them. Parkinson, everyone suddenly hungry for the ball for Everton. If you keep knocking on the door, eventually they'll let you in. Grant. He does enjoy playing in the centre of midfield. That's where he is. Stewart. Danielsson. To Johnson. Wanting some movement outside him. Johnson was a bit bashful about supplying it. And Bjornsson has gone offside. Our double header for you on Sky Sports on Sunday. Everton against Newcastle. Join us at 1 o'clock this Sunday. Followed by Manchester United against Liverpool. I'm trying to get through the promotion without mentioning Eric Cantona, but I don't think I dare. I'm sure you've heard all about it on the news. Eric at a Manchester United press conference this morning, although he didn't offer many words of wisdom himself, leaving it all to the manager. One not to be missed. Now Ferguson has said Cantona definitely plays. Unsworth. Now Everton. Barrett on the ball again. Right out showing for him. Willingly, typically. Nibble at him by both Goodison and Danielsson. Free kick, Everton happy to play it short. Right out, not even ready in the centre. Barrett. A moment of self-indulgence perhaps then, but they can afford it now, Everton. Short. A home game for the first time since he joined Everton. Not the easiest of starts, brought in at Nottingham Forest, and David Unsworth was dropped. Staying in the side tonight, Watson injured, Unsworth back, a new pairing. A few rough edges to be smoothed out. Hinchcliffe. Nicely played by Stewart under pressure. Hinchcliffe going on.
There'll certainly be more slip about in the second half.
It was much needed. Well played to an unmarked Hinchcliffe. Short! It's a good chance.
Well, that should have been his first goal in that Everton shot. That's as simple a header as you could wish for. It's a good run, it's a great cross, no great pace on it, but it's there, it's 7 yards out. He's up, he's basically unchallenged. The only thing he didn't do was get it down. Anywhere on target, that's a goal. And he ain't bad, Craig, shot in those situations normally. He'll be disappointed with that.
It's a great opportunity for him at Everton. Remember, he turned down Blackburn to go to Derby 3 years ago. Everton. Now Stewart. Off the head of Adolfsson. Everton. Stewart. Cleverly blocked off by Durbitz. Foul it was, but not spotted. Referee or linesman who are watching the ball, not those approaching it.
He just plays it, watch this, and he's away. The defender. That's as blatant as you'll get obstruction.
Nothing escapes the cameras though, even if the officials miss it. Barrett. Danielsson. That's an interesting ball from Goodison. Hinchcliffe, who was certainly caught off guard when covering was required on the goal, has now been caught off guard by the pressure of Bjornsson. Now that's significant. It's a yellow card for Andy Hinchcliffe. He got one in Iceland as well, so he will be suspended.
Well, he gets caught
at the second round.
He gets caught trying to be fancy here, and that's as blatant a holdback as you're likely to see. He just grabbed hold of his leg. I'm certainly not surprised that the referee is taking out yellow cards. He's shown already that he doesn't want to pull the card out every tackle, the referee. He has been lenient tonight.
Well, maybe an opportunity here. So, get a sting in the tail and hurt Everton once more and get them worried again. Danielson. Fortunately, it bounced off Barrett for Everton to Parkinson. And the Icelanders caught upfield. Grant. Well read by Jonsson. Didn't quite play it right, Everton, in the end. They had the space to chase out, rather like they did when they scored in the FA Cup final at Wembley. Parkinson's gone towards the near post this time. If a flick on is required. Goalkeeper got to it well. Helped by Danielson. Back in from Hinchcliffe again. Short fighting for it. Unsworth has had mixed fortunes with his shooting tonight. Unsworth again. Stewart. Oof, painful for Goodison, but he stood his ground. Limpar trying to play a little give and go. Bowled out by the goalkeeper to Danielson. That's nicely played. Danielson again. Been neat in possession on the left side. Not a wide left midfield player. They haven't occupied that part of the pitch, really. Kovacic. Benediktsson. Offside. Dervitz unlucky.
It's a nice move. It was a very patient build-up. Lots of passes, lots of movement. And very cute. Watch this. He knows he can't go through. Lifts it up. It's well offside, but good improvisation.
Think back to that moment when Southall saved right on half-time from Benediktsson via the deflection. Turning point, really.
It certainly was in the match, yeah. Right on, well, it must have been 45-minute mark. You know, if that had sneaked in, Joe's job would have been, well, doubly difficult at half-time. Still think he'd have been confident of his team going through, Martin, but it might have been a nervy 45 minutes, whereas it's been, well, quite a comfortable second half for Everton.
Short. Here's Grant. Parkinson goes outside it. Comes to Grant, who's shown the power of his shooting with the right foot. Good ball. It's fallen for Limpar. Goodison drops for Parkinson. There's a bold attempt to try and head for goal from that range. Not powerful enough. It's going to be a change now for Goodwin. Torderson is going to make a double change, in fact. Forsa and Haraldsson coming on. Parkinson. Work from right out again. Been a lot of good wide positions wasted tonight. In short. Benediktsson hoping there might have been a miscalculation then. Barrett. Limpar. Well, Bob Danielson was right on the job then in front of Grant.
They've worked the left side a lot better this second half. Found themselves more space, worked for more space.
Substitution for Reykjavik, number 14, Korka, and number 16,
Kovacic goes off. On comes Haraldsson first. And then the third of the Yugoslavs in the Reykjavik camp, Torsa, who played in the first game, who replaces Benediktsson. So never make a substitution when you're defending a corner. They've made 2. And here's Grant round the back. Another corner.
I just wondered if he could have stood up near post, far post. He likes to go near post. Any faint touch in that.
Parkinson, got a glance to it. Grant! It's a clean connection. Grant again. Well, Andy, agreeing with what you said earlier, that the Icelanders would regard this as a triumph if it stays this way. They're looking to improve their position. Southall able to sweep up here. Not a bad ball either to Limpar. Everton not settling just for 2-1 though.
I think they'd like to finish off with a couple more. Certainly one more, Evan, just to make the scoreline, certainly on paper, look a lot more convincing.
Barrett. Hasn't really gone anywhere. Stewart.
He's looked lively, Stuart. You know, I think Joe will be pretty pleased that with Amakachi going off unconscious, that Graham Stewart's taken this opportunity, I think, to quite impress his manager. And Joe will be pleased with his contribution. He's looked lively, he's looked bright, got a goal.
May well be required on Sunday. Forsyth. Haraldson, the other substitute. Goodison. Offside. Going the referee. Understanding the situation well. Having a game flow. The players haven't given him any real problems, but it's been an impressive showing from the Slovakian referee. Checking how long he feels there is to go. 6 minutes on our watch, and Limpar lifting it too high.
I think they're all trying to get in the act now. Look a little bit tired, Reykjavik. Finding more and more space, Everton, as the half goes on. Everton players are. But it's a job done for Joe's team. Important things to be in the next round. Avoid a calamity like happened at Old Trafford on Tuesday night. And they've done that. It hasn't been a great performance, particularly in the first half, but they've come out, they've played better second half, they've created more, got themselves a couple of goals, and they've looked better for it.
Well, it's been played in a very good spirit. You saw the bit of byplay between the crowd and the goalkeeper.
Please do not go onto the pitch. It is an offence for any supporter to enter onto the track or playing area.
Substituted player now, assessing the situation. Kovacic
To enter onto the track or playing
to perhaps
area.
pass on something that he's learned from being out there to the benefit of KR in the time that remains. Goodison. Off goes Davies. Gets a corner. Everton with a 2-goal cushion overall. Press by a KR corner. Jonsson. Well, there's a ball on over the top. Southall just a little slow to recognise it. Certainly Stewart was alive. It sent so many players forward. Limpar. Ebrel took it down well. Grant, crisply, to Rideout. Quite the pace to get away. Paul Rideout. Done well to play this long after the chest problem he got in the last Premiership game. Bjornsson, with Jonsson herring ahead of him. Unsworth powering out. He's well out of position now. It's down to Short and Southall. Ebrel. No offside. Paul Rideout away for Everton. Not much support in the centre, so he checks for his own benefits. Well, it's fair reward for Rideout, and it's 3-1, just as it was 10 years ago against Bayern Munich in the last European game here.
It's a reward for persistence for Rideout, because he knows he's alone. He has a look, so he doesn't just flash it across the goal. He decides to hold up the play, thinks he's got a chance. Doesn't hit the first one very well. He does hit the second one very well. And again, was it Goodison?
Yeah.
A little touch off Goodison, and that's vital. The goalkeeper might well have got a better hand to this, had it not clipped to number 6 on his way past. Just there, takes it out of the goalkeeper's reach.
Well, he's covered a lot of ground Rideout. He knows the job up front, maybe not the speediest striker around, but a thoughtful player who works for the benefit of the team. Needing some defensive teamwork here. And shall we call him the Andy Gray of '95?
Who's right, he had no pace.
I'm just trying to give you an opportunity to talk about your contribution in '85. English success in the Cup Winners' Cup stems right back to Spurs in 1963, West Ham, Manchester City, Chelsea, Everton, of course, Manchester United, and most recently Arsenal have won the trophy. Arsenal, as you'll remember, narrowly failing to retain it last year.
Good record in that trophy, isn't it, Omar? Good record.
And it's a pretty good record for English clubs in Europe generally, and we should remember that after a difficult week. Stewart. Limpar. Corner. Well, it was only Rideout really in there wanting to make contact with the corner.
Well, the others were on their way. Short and Unsworth looking at Anders Limpar rather quizzically, saying, wait a minute, we've already ran 40 yards up the pitch. It's the last minute, give us a chance to get there.
Well, Anders maybe was looking at the clock and realising we're dealing perhaps in seconds here.
We can have a look at his goal. I mean, he doesn't hit that one very well, but he keeps his eye on it. Look at the way he watches the ball. It's good contact. There's the touch. Just takes it far enough away from the goalkeeper, he can't stop it.
Well, it'll look reasonably respectable in the morning papers, but you have to read the whole story. The difficulties of the first half here. And Joe Royle saw his team go behind on the night, levelled on aggregate by a very competitive KR Reykjavik side.
Well, it's ended up a scoreline that most of us, I think, had in mind, Martin, the type of scoreline anyway. But it's certainly, it's been hard work, a lot harder than they imagined, I think, to get that scoreline.
Tries to chip the goalkeeper. Imaginative attempt, having powered a goal past him earlier.
Such a good player, this lad. The little bits I've seen of him play, he's impressed me all the time. Even when he came on at Forest, he impressed me, and he's continued to do so tonight. You're just looking at him as well, man. It might be that his best position is infield eventually.
Well, Everton sorted it out in the second half. In a way, both sides will feel they are winners here. But Graham Stewart's goal was very important. But his effort took a deflection, so too did Rideout's late on, in between a very cleanly hit sweet shot from the highly promising Tony Grant. All this after KR Reykjavik had rung the alarm bells with a goal from Danielson in the first half. And applause all round Goodison Park. Those who've made the journey here from way up in the north of Europe will feel that it's worthwhile. The end of KR's season, in which they've retained the Icelandic Cup, and they're right to return to this competition next August. And they will be back as guests at Goodison on Sunday to cheer on their conquerors tonight. Everton was stretched, though, and they'll need to recover their energies to try to end this worrying sequence here of 3 successive Premiership defeats at the expense of the league leaders on Sunday. So they go off to turn their attention to Newcastle United, knowing that they have cleared the first hurdle in Europe.